Britain forced the SNP to cancel indyref2 as Nicola Sturgeon raised independence fees. Nicola Sturgeon will be forced to scrap its plans for a second Scotland referendum as a government lawyer urges the Supreme Court to scrap it. The decision came after the SNP published the second paper in the new attack. Lord Stewart of Dirleton QC, Athlete General for Scotland, said the move was too early and the First Secretary had not had the necessary level of confidence. A decision from the court on whether to accept the proposal for an independence referendum on October 19 next year, scheduled for the fall. The government says now is not the time for another referendum amid the cost of living crisis and the ongoing war in Ukraine. The Dark Court will block the SNP referendum. The decision was made shortly after Nicola Sturgeon launched a startling attack on Great Britain with its second article in promoting Scottish independence. Debuting the paper, Ms. Sturgeon said Scotland was facing a democracy deficit more severe than ever and said whoever replaces Boris Johnson would have no democratic endorsement from Scotland. The First Minister added, "This discussion could not have been more timely or urgent. The democratic deficit facing Scotland is not a recent phenomenon, but the evidence of it is now clear. Clearer than ever. An unpopular Prime Minister from Scotland is about to be replaced by another that Scotland has not voted for and won't vote even if we had the chance. All Scotland has ever heard from UK politicians these days is a denial of democracy. They exchange opinions on how many years it will take before Westminster can allow us to make a democratic choice about our own future." On the Scottish Government's website, they describe the paper as setting out the Scottish Government's view that people who live in Scotland have the right to choose how they should be governed and to decide if Scotland should become an independent country. However, Scottish Conservative spokesman Donald Cameron accused the First Minister of having once again focused on the wrong priority at the worst possible time. He added, "In the week in which Scotland's NHS records its worst A&E wait times on record, people will be outraged to see Nicola Sturgeon continue to campaign for an independence referendum next year." Next. The vast majority of Scots don't want a divisive second referendum next year, but it seems the SNP is just too happy to ignore democracy when it doesn't go their way. The Scottish Government's top law official, Lord Advocate Dorothy Bain, has said she doesn't have the necessary level of confidence. Downing Street has called on the judges to drop the case, arguing that there is not yet any law for them to rule and it is clear that constitutional issues are left to Westminster.